Hello all, Lizlodude here, and welcome to my hopefully much awaited but definitely late tour of my desk setup. I'm running a dual machine setup, along with an old laptop running as a security station. My main driver is an Acer Aspire 15.5-inch laptop with an i5 4210 CPU, 6 gigs of RAM, and of course I added a 120 gig SSD. The desktop, which I use mainly for gaming and editing, is running an 8-core AMD FX 8320 CPU, 16 gigs of RAM, an NVIDIA GTX 760, and a 500GB hard drive. With the specs out of the way, let's jump into the rest of the system. First off, we have the different displays. The main laptop has an awkward 1366 by 768 15.5-inch display, which is accompanied by a 24-inch 1920 by 1080 Toshiba TV. Yes, I know TVs aren't that great for displays, but I'm not gaming on this one, so it doesn't really matter as long as you turn off the dynamic contrast, dynamic brightness, dynamic color adjustment, and all the other dynamic crap that they claim makes videos pop, but really just distorts it for computers. I got this one significantly discounted from a friend at Radio Shack, so works well enough. There's also another 24-inch 1080p monitor from Asus, which is actually a gaming monitor with a 1 millisecond response time, and unfortunately only 60Hz, but at the time 144 wasn't really that popular, and it wasn't that cheap, so it was a bit out of my price range. Moving on to the audio layout in a moment here. You have the big jack over on the left that connects everything to the laptop at once. It took forever to find a laptop model that had all the connectivity on the left. For some reason, companies seem to think that it should be on the right, but that blocks the mouse, you fools. I don't understand why they don't get this. This one has everything on the left except for 2 USB ports on a disk drive, which was very convenient. And everything else conveniently fits in this little space right here. The audio cable connects right over there, and then runs through that little plug, and through the big bundle, back into the covered routing area, and goes up to my custom-built super jury-riggy audio routing system. Which, yet again, I know a soundboard would be much better, but I don't have the money to actually get a decent soundboard, let alone one that can select 3 outputs as well as inputs, so this one works well enough. The main inputs from different devices come in here at the bottom one. You have an input from the Bluetooth receiver from my phone, the main laptop, and also an iPhone dock, which is going to be removed very shortly, since it's kind of broken, and it'll get replaced by something. The Bluetooth receiver does the same thing, but it doesn't have to be plugged in, so stick with that. Whatever input I select on the bottom one is sent up to the second mixer, which sends that to whatever destination I choose, currently just the audio link, which is a display over on the right, which I really just use for showing people videos and whatnot. I usually use my headphones, it's much better. That used to run to a TV in another room where you could watch movies, but now I built a media center PC there, so that's no longer needed. The other output goes to my room speaker system, which is in classic fashion super jury-rigged, and it's comprised of 2 speakers there, 2 speakers there, and there behind the cardboard, and this subwoofer that I built out of solo cups, and I rebuilt it much better. And they are both powered by this amp over here that someone threw out of the back of their car. Yeah. And if I want, I can set this top switch to the top and just mute everything but the headphones when I don't want to use anything else. The USB data system has gotten a lot simpler since I switched over to a NAS from my main storage. The main USB cable, which is USB 3, runs from this big block here back into a hub behind the laptop, actually mini hubs. Even though there's only one USB 3 device plugged into the USB 3 hub, it prevents all the other USB 2 devices from having to fight over the bandwidth of a USB 2 connection, which is nice. And if I remove this cover here, then we have all the slightly less pretty stuff. That main USB cable runs back here to a USB 3 hub. That would be the shinier one underneath all these wires and mess. Yeah, that one. And that one runs out to, at least it used to, an external hard disk over on the left, which that's currently gone. It's being used for backups now. It's been replaced by the NAS. So that one's not actually there anymore. Ignore that. It also runs up to another external hard drive, which is up above the panel above the screen. I mainly use that one for downloads, just so that I don't have to waste space on the NAS for it, when I can just re-download the files anytime if they're lost. That also runs to a USB 2 hub, which runs out to another hub over on the left. It's pretty much just used for memory sticks and stuff, versus plugging in directly to the laptop. And it also runs out to whatever that black cable there goes to. I have no idea what it runs to. Put a guess in the comments if you think you have an idea. Who knows, maybe it originally went to a printer or something. The network is one of the more recent upgrades. It's now fully gigabit and runs from this port here on the laptop, through the cable bundle, back behind the laptop, and over to my gigabit switch, which connects everything together. That runs to the laptop, the gaming computer, and also down through a Cat6 cable, out the wall of my office, up the gutter, across the roof, down the bottom of my window, and back through the wall, because Charter's Wi-Fi sucks. That also runs to a security station that hasn't been mounted yet, and to the 2TB RAID 1 NAS, which is mounted behind that screen and is used for my primary storage. I'm quite happy with it. When it comes to the power system, pretty much it's this entire column here. Below the top drawer, which I just use as storage, there's just a bunch of assorted junk in there. There's a huge mess of wires and adapters. There's the main power for the laptop and gaming computer over there. It really shouldn't have a switch, but oh well. All those power cables come up through this little access hole. They go back behind the screen, they go over beside the laptop, and pretty much everywhere else. There's also another little access hole over on the other side, there it is, which runs down to the second level of the power supply. There's also all the wiring and control circuitry for the control panel underneath here. This is a huge mess, but I've tested the heat levels, there's no fire hazard so far. It's kind of surprising, but nothing's caught fire, so I think we're good. Underneath that second level, we've got the brains of the system along with the main power supply, which is hidden behind some of this junk. There's the light controller and timer for some of my fans, and Kitty, my pet lizard, who's awesome. That just controls his lights and makes sure that everything turns on and off at the right time. And there's also an APC backup 750 UPS unit, which controls the entire system, along with making sure it doesn't have any issues in the event of a power failure, blackout, brownout, etc. It's not powerful enough to keep everything running forever, especially the gaming computer, but it'll keep it from getting damaged and gives me time to shut it down. There's surge protection sockets over on the bottom. There's battery backup and surge protection. And back in the back is my favorite feature, which is the master outlet, which allows you to turn on and off non-essential parts of the network when the computers are not on, mainly the lights and fans in this case, saving power. And that drawer just closes up, eventually. It sticks a little bit, it's got like 20 pounds of batteries in it. And then it closes, and it's conveniently hidden between a box and a trash can. Yay. I also built a nice little jury-rig control panel below the bottom of the desk, which can turn the accent lights on and off. It can also turn on and off the main lights, along with all the fans, namely that one on the mouse, keep it from getting too hot. It can pretty much control all the fans and lights on the desk. And then there's the button there, which can turn the computer on and off because the button is a bit hard to get to underneath that desk. And of course, we have the go-to microphone for streamers and voiceovers, the Blue Yeti Blackout, which currently I don't have a stand for built yet, so yeah, there's a C-clamp there. It's not going anywhere. It works. There's of course a pop filter, must have one of those, and that pretty much wraps it up. There's some other stuff, but that's the majority of it. I hope you've enjoyed. Leave a like if you liked the video, comment if you had a comment, and subscribe if you like what I do. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for future videos.